Every minute you spend on purpose is an investment in your dreams. Don't let time slip through your fingers. Have you ever stopped to think about how valuable your time really is? Most of us go through our days on autopilot, never fully realizing how much our time affects every part of our lives. But here's the truth. Time and money are connected in a way that most people don't truly understand. Time is a limited resource, and once it's gone, you can't get it back. But the way you spend your time can directly determine how successful you are and how much you can achieve, both in terms of money and personal fulfillment. In this video, we're going to break down why your time is just as valuable, if not more valuable, than money. You'll learn how your daily choices shape your future, how every moment matters, and how the right mindset can unlock doors to opportunities you never imagined. By the end of this video, you'll start seeing your time in a whole new light, and you'll know exactly what you can do to start making better choices that will lead you toward the life and success you've always wanted. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear could completely change the way you approach every day. Let's dive in. Number 1, the value of time. Time is one of the most valuable things you have. Think about it for a second. Everything we do revolves around it. It governs our day-to-day life, how we spend our energy, what we can achieve, and ultimately how much we can earn. But how often do we actually stop and consider its true worth? How often do we think about what we're giving up when we waste it, or what we could gain if we used it better? Time is a resource that once spent can never be replenished. Yet so many people treat it like it's infinite. I want to challenge you to shift that mindset today. I want you to start seeing time for what it really is. A tool that, when used wisely, can create the kind of life you've always wanted. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. And yet the way some people seem to make the most of those hours, while others struggle just to get by, is a mystery. But it's not about magic. It's about how we view time. It's about the decisions we make, the habits we form, and the way we prioritize. The people who truly value their time, who treat it as a precious commodity, are the ones who end up creating extraordinary lives. It's no secret. If you respect your time, if you make each hour count, it can open up opportunities for you, both in terms of money and in terms of living a life that's truly fulfilling. Now let's talk about that connection. You might have heard the saying, time is money. It's something we throw around often, but do we really understand it? Do we really grasp how much our time impacts our earning potential and overall success? The truth is, time and money are deeply intertwined, and once you realize this, your entire approach to life changes. You stop seeing time as something that just slips by and starts thinking about it as an investment. Think of your time as your greatest asset, and the way you spend it is like putting money into a savings account. The more wisely you invest it, the more wealth, real wealth in every sense of the word, you'll accumulate. Time is in fact a currency, and just like money, you can choose how to spend it. But unlike money, which you can earn back once spent, time doesn't come with that option. Every hour you let slip away without doing something meaningful is gone for good. You can't get that hour back, no matter how hard you try. That's why it's so important to stop and think about how you're using your time. Are you spending it on things that add value to your life? Are you investing it in ways that will grow your knowledge, your skills, and your relationships? Or are you letting it slip away on distractions and habits that don't move you forward? If you really want to achieve something big, whether it's financial success, personal growth, or simply a life of meaning and fulfillment, you've got to get serious about how you're spending your time. The good news is, it's all in your hands. You have complete control over it. Once you start treating time like money, once you realize the value of each moment, you'll begin to make different decisions. You'll start saying no to the things that waste your time. You'll start prioritizing the activities that help you grow. You'll begin making choices that bring you closer to the person you want to become and the life you want to create. Think about the hours you spend each day. How much of that time is spent doing things that are truly meaningful to you? If you really sit down and reflect, you might realize there are big chunks of your day that get lost in small distractions. Checking your phone, watching TV, scrolling through social media, and other mindless activities. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with a little relaxation or entertainment every now and then. But the problem is, when these distractions become the focus of your day, when you allow them to consume your time, they prevent you from doing what's really important, from making progress toward your goals. Think of time like money in an investment account. The more you put in, the more you'll get out, and the sooner you'll see the returns. But if you're constantly withdrawing and not adding anything of value, the balance won't grow. The same principle applies to how you use your time. If you're not putting time into things that help you grow, whether that's building your career, developing your skills, or improving your health, then you won't see the growth you desire. You won't accumulate the wealth of knowledge, opportunities, or personal satisfaction that comes from being intentional about your time. And here's the real kicker. Time is the great equalizer. We all get the same 24 hours each day. The difference between success and failure, between those who achieve their dreams and those who don't, comes down to how those 24 hours are spent. When you're using your time wisely, you're taking action, making progress, and setting yourself up for future success. It's a long-term game. Every moment you invest today is building the foundation for a better tomorrow. But that doesn't happen overnight. It takes commitment. It takes discipline. It takes a mindset shift that says, I'm not going to let this hour slip by. I'm going to make the most of every minute. When you approach each day like this, when you're mindful of how you're using your time, you'll start to see things shift. Opportunities will start to appear. You'll begin to build the momentum that comes from consistent action. And before you know it, you'll look back and realize that all of those small investments of time have paid off in ways you couldn't have imagined. And let me remind you, this isn't just about money, it's about your life. When you respect your time, when you truly value it, you'll find that it leads to a life of fulfillment. You'll be doing the things that matter to you. You'll be surrounded by people who inspire and support you. You'll be moving forward with purpose, making a difference in the world around you. That's the kind of life you can create when you take time seriously. Number 2, the connection between time and wealth. The connection between time and wealth. People chase money their whole lives. They wake up early, work all day, and come home exhausted, only to do it all over again the next day. They think that by working hard, they'll eventually get rich. But here's what they don't realize. It's not just about working hard. It's about how you use your time. Because time and money are directly connected. And the way you manage one determines how much of the other you'll have. Think about it. You see two people working the same job. One person is barely getting by, living paycheck to paycheck. The other is building wealth, creating opportunities, and setting themselves up for a better future. What's the difference? They both have the same 24 hours in a day. They both work hard, but one of them understands the power of time, and the other doesn't. Most people trade their time for money, and that's the only way they know how to live. They go to work, clock in, and trade 8 hours of their life for a paycheck. Then they go home, tired, frustrated, and wondering why they're not making progress. But here's the problem. If you're only making money by trading hours, your income will always be limited. You'll always be stuck in that cycle. You'll always be at the mercy of someone else deciding how much your time is worth. And let me tell you something. If someone is paying you by the hour, it means they're making a lot more money off your time than you are. That's why you have to start thinking differently. You have to stop seeing time as something you trade for money and start seeing it as something you invest. The wealthy don't just work for money. They make money work for them. They use their time to build skills, create value, and find ways to multiply their income without having to work more hours. They know that money is just a byproduct of how well you use your time. If you want to build wealth, you have to start thinking like a person who values their time. Look at what you do every day. How much of it is actually making you money? How much of it is setting you up for a better future? Most people are busy, but they're not productive. They run around all day answering emails, going to meetings, scrolling through their phones, and at the end of the day they wonder why they haven't gotten anywhere. Being busy doesn't mean you're building wealth. Being productive does. And the only way to be productive is to make sure your time is being used for something that actually moves you forward. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that working more hours is the key to making more money. It's not, because if that were true, the people working the hardest jobs would be the richest. But they're not. Hard work is important, but how you use your time is even more important. You have to ask yourself, am I just working to survive? Or am I using my time to build something that will give me freedom? Because that's the real goal, freedom. Not just money, but the ability to control your own life. To do what you want when you want, without worrying about a paycheck. To get there, you need to start using your time differently. Instead of just working for money, Start learning skills that will make you more valuable. The more valuable you are, the more your time is worth. Read books, take courses, develop expertise in something that people are willing to pay for. And then don't just trade your time for money. Find ways to multiply it. Invest in things that grow. Start a side business. Create something that works for you even when you're not working. Because the truth is, if you don't learn how to make money while you sleep, you'll spend your whole life working just to stay afloat. Another thing you need to do is start protecting your time. Most people waste hours every day without even realizing it. They spend time on things that don't matter, on people who drain their energy, on distractions that take them further from their goals. You have to be ruthless about where your time goes. Stop giving it away for free. Stop letting other people dictate how you spend it. Start treating your time like it's worth something, because it is. If you really want to understand the connection between time and wealth, look at the people who have mastered it. Look at the entrepreneurs, the investors, the people who have built something great. They don't waste time on things that don't matter. They don't spend all day watching TV, playing video games, or scrolling through social media. They don't fill their days with distractions. They focus. They work with intention. They make every hour count. And because of that, they get ahead while everyone else stays stuck. The reality is, you have the same 24 hours as anyone else. What you do with them is what makes the difference. You can either use your time to build a better future, or you can waste it and stay exactly where you are. But one thing is certain, time will pass either way. 5 years from now, you'll either be glad you made every second count, or you'll be wishing you had. This is your wake-up call. No more wasting time on things that don't bring you closer to success. No more treating your hours like they don't matter. Start valuing your time the way successful people do. Because the moment you do, everything in your life will start to change. Number 3, the hidden cost of lost hours. Most people don't realize how much time they waste every single day. And I'm not talking about just a few minutes here and there. I'm talking about hours. Hours that disappear without anything to show for them. And let me tell you something. Those lost hours, they come at a cost, a hidden cost. A cost that most people never see until it's too late. Think about this. Every time you waste an hour, you're not just losing time. You're losing opportunities. You're losing progress. You're losing momentum. And the worst part, you can never get that time back. Once it's gone forever. You don't get a refund on wasted time. You don't get a second chance to use that hour wisely. And yet, people throw away time like it's unlimited. Like they can just wake up one day and suddenly get it all back. But that's not how life works. Let me ask you something. If someone came up to you and stole $100 out of your wallet, how would you react? You'd probably be angry. You'd probably try to get it back. Because money is valuable, right? But what if I told you that time is even more valuable than money? You can always make more money. You can always find new ways to earn. But time, once it's spent, it's gone forever. And yet people guard their money more than they guard their time. They'll stress over losing a few dollars but think nothing of wasting hours on things that don't matter. The real cost of lost hours isn't just about wasted time. It's about what you could have done with that time. Every hour wasted is an hour that could have been spent learning a new skill. It could have been used to start a business, improve your health, or work on your goals. But instead it disappears into distractions, into mindless scrolling, into conversations that go nowhere. And before you know it, months have passed, then years. And one day you wake up and realize that you're in the same place you were 5 years ago. That's the real cost. It's not just time lost, it's the progress you never made, the success you never achieved, the life you never built. And the truth is, most people don't even see it happening. They don't realize how much time they waste until they look back and feel the regret. And let me tell you something. Regret is the most expensive thing you can ever have. Because unlike money, unlike opportunities, unlike almost anything else in life, regret doesn't go away. It stays with you. It reminds you of what you could have been. It whispers in your ear every time you see someone else succeed. Every time you see someone living the life you wanted. And that feeling, that's a pain that never truly fades. But here's the good news. You don't have to wait until it's too late to make a change. You can decide right now that your time is worth something, that your hours are valuable, that you will no longer waste time on things that don't serve you. And once you make that decision, everything starts to change. Because when you start treating your time like it matters, You start making better choices. You stop wasting hours on distractions. You stop giving your time away to people who don't appreciate it. You start using every hour wisely. And when you do that, your life starts moving forward faster than you ever thought possible. The difference between successful people and everyone else isn't luck. It's not talent. It's not even intelligence. It's how they use their time. They don't let hours slip away. They don't sit around waiting for motivation. They get up every day and make their time count. They use every hour to get better, to grow, to build something meaningful. And because of that, they succeed. While everyone else is wasting time, they're creating results. And listen, I know it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking you have time, that you can start tomorrow, that you can change next week. But the truth is, time doesn't wait. It keeps moving. And if you're not careful, one day you'll wake up and realize you ran out of tomorrows. That's why you have to start now. Not later, not next month, not next year. Now, ask yourself right now, what are you wasting time on? What are the things in your life that are stealing your hours without giving you anything in return? What are the distractions, the bad habits, the meaningless activities that are keeping you from your goals? Be honest with yourself, because the sooner you recognize the problem, the sooner you can fix it. And then once you see where your time is going, start making changes. Cut out the things that don't serve you. Stop giving your time away to things that don't matter. Start using your hours like they're the most valuable thing you own, because they are. And when you do that, you'll start to see a difference. You'll start to feel a sense of control over your life. You'll start making progress faster than you ever thought possible. And most importantly, you'll never have to look back with regret, wondering what you could have done if only you had used your time wisely. Number 4. The power of compounding effort over time. You know, most people don't realize the power of small, consistent effort over time. They think success is about one big move, one lucky break, or one massive change. But that's not how it works. Success isn't about what you do once in a while. It's about what you do every single day. It's about the little choices you make, the habits you build, and the way you spend your time. Because when you add up all those small actions, they start to compound. And that's when real change happens. Let's say you want to get in shape. You don't go to the gym once and expect to see results. You don't eat healthy for one meal and suddenly feel stronger. It doesn't work that way. But if you show up to the gym every day, even if it's just for a short workout, and if you consistently make better food choices, those small decisions start to add up. At first, you might not see a difference. You might feel like nothing is changing. But over time, those little habits start to transform your body. You get stronger. You have more energy. And before you know it, you look back and realize just how far you've come. The same principle applies to your finances. If you save a little bit of money every day, it might not seem like much at first, but as time goes on, that money starts to grow. You start to see the power of compounding. And before you know it, you have a solid financial foundation. Not because you made one big move, but because you made small, smart choices every single day. Most people give up too soon because they don't see instant results. They start something, they don't see progress right away, and they quit. But that's the biggest mistake you can make, because every small action you take is like planting a seed. At first you don't see anything, but if you keep watering it, if you keep showing up, eventually it starts to grow. And once it starts growing, it keeps getting bigger and bigger. That's how success works. It's not about giant leaps. It's about small steps, repeated over time, that eventually lead to massive change. Look at the people who are truly successful in any area of life. They didn't get there overnight. They didn't wake up one day and suddenly have it all. They got there because they were willing to put in the work, day after day, even when they didn't feel like it. They understood that the little things matter. They understood that success is built, not given. And that's the mindset you need to adopt. Stop looking for quick fixes. Stop chasing shortcuts. Start focusing on what you can do today, right now, that will move you forward. It doesn't have to be something huge. It just has to be something. Because every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goals. Think about where you want to be 5 years from now, the life you want, the success you want, the person you want to become. Now ask yourself, what are you doing today to make that happen? Because 5 years from now, you're going to look back on the choices you made today, and you'll either be glad you stayed consistent, or you'll wish you had. The time is going to pass anyway. You can either use it to build something meaningful, or you can waste it and stay exactly where you are. But if you understand the power of compounding effort, if you commit to showing up every day and making small, smart choices, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. Number 5, the relationship between time, skills, and money. If I told you that your time and skills were the key to your financial success, would you believe me? Because they are. The way you use your time and the way you develop your skills determine how much money you make. It's that simple. But here's the problem. Most people don't see the connection. They wake up, go to work, do what they're told, and then wonder why they're not making more money. They wonder why they're struggling, why they feel stuck, why life isn't getting any better. But the answer is right in front of them. It's in how they spend their time and whether they're improving their skills. Think about this. If you work at a job where they pay you by the hour, then your time is already linked to money. The more hours you work, the more money you make. But here's the issue. There are only so many hours in a day. No matter how hard you work, no matter how much effort you put in, you will always be limited by time. That's why so many people feel stuck. They're trading hours for dollars, but they're not increasing the value of those hours. They're just working more, hoping it'll be enough. But hope isn't a strategy. The real question is this: how much is your time worth? Because that number isn't set in stone. It's not something your boss decides. It's something you decide by the skills you develop. A person who flips burgers for 8 hours a day makes a certain amount of money. A person who manages the restaurant makes more. A person who owns the restaurant makes even more. They all have the same hours in a day, but the difference isn't in how much time they work. It's in the value of their time, and what determines that value: their skills. If you want to earn more, you need to increase the value of your time. You need to develop skills that are worth more in the marketplace. Because here's the truth. People don't get paid for their time. They get paid for the value they bring to that time. 2 people can work the same 8-hour shift, but one makes 10 times more than the other. Why? Because one has skills that are in higher demand. One has knowledge that the marketplace values more. And this is where most people get it wrong. They think working harder is the answer, but it's not. It's working smarter. It's learning skills that make your time more valuable. It's developing expertise in something that people are willing to pay for. It's mastering something that sets you apart from everyone else. Because when you do that, you're no longer just trading time for money. You're trading value for money, and value is unlimited. So the question is, what are you doing with your time? Are you spending it wisely? Are you using it to get better, to learn, to grow? Or are you wasting it on things that don't move you forward? Because every hour you waste is an hour you could have used to develop a skill that would make you more valuable. Every hour you spend on distractions, on things that don't matter, is an hour that could have been invested in your future. I know what some people might say, but Jim, I don't have time to learn new skills. I'm too busy working, too busy taking care of responsibilities. And I get that. Life is busy. But let me tell you something. If you don't make time to improve, you will always be stuck where you are. The people who succeed aren't the ones who have the most free time. They're the ones who make time. They're the ones who wake up an hour earlier to read, who use their lunch breaks to learn something new, who spend their evenings working on a side business instead of watching TV. They're the ones who understand that time is an investment. And the more you invest it wisely, the more it pays off. Think about where you are right now. Look at your job, your income, your lifestyle. Everything you have today is a result of how you've spent your time up to this point. And if you want something better, you have to start making better choices with your time. You have to stop wasting it on things that don't help you grow. You have to start using it to develop skills that will increase your value. And here's the best part. You don't have to change everything overnight. You don't have to quit your job, move to a new city, or take some huge risk. You just have to start small. Spend 30 minutes a day learning something new. Read a book, take an online course, practice a skill. Just 30 minutes a day might not seem like much, but over time it adds up. That's 3.5 hours a week. That's 14 hours a month. That's 168 hours a year. Imagine what you could learn in that time. Imagine how much better you could be in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10. The people who win in life aren't the ones who are the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who use their time the best. They're the ones who understand that every minute is an opportunity to get better. They're the ones who don't waste time on things that don't matter. Number 6, the discipline of high achievers. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't often comes down to one thing: their discipline. Discipline is not just about being strict with yourself. It's about having the mental strength to make the right decisions, day in and day out, no matter how you feel. The most successful people I know aren't the ones with the best circumstances. They aren't the ones with the most natural talent or the most breaks in life. No, they're the ones who get up every day, who do what they know needs to be done even when they don't feel like it, who stick to their goals no matter how tough it gets. And that's discipline. Discipline doesn't just mean working hard. It's about working smart. It's about doing the right things, even when it's hard, even when it feels uncomfortable, and even when you'd rather do something else. The truth is, we all have a limited amount of time in a day. The successful people I know don't waste their time on distractions. They don't waste time scrolling through social media or watching mindless television. They don't let their emotions take control of their decisions. They know that if they want to get ahead in life, they have to stay disciplined. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Jim, I'm already disciplined. I show up for work every day. I do my job. What more do you want from me? Well, showing up for work is just the beginning. It's not enough to just be present. You have to be present with purpose. What I mean by that is, you have to take every task, every moment, and use it to move yourself closer to where you want to be. Every action, every decision, every minute of your day needs to be intentional. The thing about discipline is that it doesn't come easy. It requires sacrifice. It means saying no to things that take you off course. It means saying no to that extra hour of sleep in the morning because you know there's something more important you need to do. It means saying no to distractions that are pulling your attention away from your goals. Discipline means doing what you need to do now so that you can have the life you want later. I want you to think about a goal you have. Maybe it's something big, like starting your own business, getting in shape, or getting promoted at work. Whatever it is, ask yourself, what are you doing every day to get closer to that goal? Are you disciplined in how you use your time? Are you willing to put in the work, even when you don't feel like it? Because I'll tell you right now, the people who get ahead are the ones who are willing to do the things that others aren't willing to do. It's easy to do the things that are fun and comfortable. It's easy to watch TV, to go out with friends, to relax and enjoy life. But what separates successful people from the rest is that they understand that success isn't just about enjoyment. It's about doing what's necessary. It's about putting in the hard work today so that you can enjoy the rewards tomorrow. And that's where discipline comes in. When you get disciplined, you start to recognize that you don't have time to waste. You realize that if you're not working towards your goals, you're falling behind. That's a tough truth, but it's one that can set you free. Once you truly understand that, once you recognize that time is your most valuable resource, you'll start to treat it that way. You won't just let time slip away. You'll use every moment to move forward, to improve, to get better. Think about it this way. Discipline is what will take you from where you are now to where you want to be. It's the bridge between your current situation and your future success. It's the difference between those who dream and those who do. And while it's not easy, it's simple. You show up, you work hard, and you stay consistent. But here's the catch. It's not just about working hard. It's about working smart too. Discipline isn't about pushing yourself to the point of exhaustion. It's about being intentional with your energy and your focus. You could be working hard all day long, but if you're not doing the right things, you're just spinning your wheels. Successful people know how to focus their energy on the things that will move them forward. They prioritize. They don't try to do everything. They do what matters most. Now, I'm not saying you have to be perfect. Nobody is perfect, and I'm certainly not. But what I am saying is that you have to be consistent. You have to keep going even when it gets tough. There will be days when you don't feel like it. There will be days when you'd rather take the easy road. But if you want something different, you have to do something different. And that means sticking to your discipline, even when it feels hard. And you know what? You're gonna have days when you slip up. You're gonna have days when you don't make the best choices. That's okay. What matters is that you don't let those days define you. You get back up the next day, you stick to your discipline, and you keep going. The more you do that, the easier it gets. Discipline becomes a habit, and once it's a habit, you won't even have to think about it. You'll just do what needs to be done, without hesitation. So I want you to ask yourself, what does your discipline look like? Are you doing the work every day? Are you staying focused on your goals? Are you willing to sacrifice a little now to have more later? Because that's what it takes to get where you want to be. That's what it takes to turn your dreams into reality. It's not about luck or chance. It's about discipline. The good news is that discipline is something you can control. You don't need anyone's permission to be disciplined. You don't need a perfect situation. You just need the will to keep going, day after day. And when you do that, when you commit to your goals and stay disciplined, there's nothing that can stop you. Success won't be a matter of if, it will be a matter of when. And that's when your life starts to change. Number 7, the power of saying no to things that waste time. The power of saying no. Now I know that might sound strange. How could saying no be powerful? After all, doesn't success come from saying yes? Doesn't success come from taking every opportunity that comes your way? Well, the truth is, success doesn't come from saying yes to everything. It comes from saying no to the things that don't serve your greater purpose. The problem is that many people are afraid of saying no. They think they'll miss out. They think they'll disappoint someone. They think they'll miss an opportunity that might change their life. But the reality is that every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your goals, you're saying no to your future. You're saying no to the time you could have spent doing something more valuable. You're saying no to the growth, the learning, and the opportunities that really matter. And over time, those small yeses pile up. They steal your focus. They waste your time. And before you know it, you're too busy to work on what really matters. So why is it so hard for people to say no? Well, there's this idea that if we say no, we'll miss out on something important. But that's not true. What you're really missing out on when you say yes to everything is the time, energy, and focus that you need to build the life you want. Every time you say yes to something that isn't important, you're giving up a piece of yourself. You're giving up time that could be better spent working on your goals, building your skills, improving your health, or growing your relationships. I want you to think about your time right now. How much of it is spent on things that don't really help you? How much of it is spent on things that don't bring you closer to where you want to go? We all have the same 24 hours in a day, but how we spend that time is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. If you spend your days saying yes to everything, you're not going to have the time or energy left to focus on what really matters. You won't have time to build your dreams. You won't have time to develop your skills. You won't have time to work on becoming the person you need to be to get where you want to go. Now, I'm not saying that you should be rude or unkind when you say no. It's not about being negative or shutting people out. It's about recognizing that your time is valuable. It's about being clear on your priorities and being willing to set boundaries. It's about knowing that saying no to things that don't matter is saying yes to yourself. When you start saying no to the distractions, the obligations, and the things that don't serve your purpose, you create space for the things that really matter, the things that will move you forward. And here's the truth: when you say no to something that isn't in line with your goals, you're not just saying no to the activity. You're saying yes to your future. You're saying yes to your growth, your progress, and your success. Saying no is an act of self-respect. It's you telling the world, I value my time, and I'm not going to waste it on things that don't align with my purpose. It's you taking control of your life instead of letting life control you. Now, I get it. Saying no can be difficult. It's easy to feel guilty. It's easy to worry about what other people will think. But you know what? You have to put yourself first. You have to recognize that your time is too valuable to waste. And the people who truly respect you will understand that. They won't be upset that you're saying no. They'll respect your decision and maybe even admire your ability to set boundaries. One of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is to get clear about what matters most to you. What are your goals? What do you want to achieve? What kind of life do you want to build? Once you have a clear vision of that, everything else becomes easier. You'll find that saying no becomes second nature. It's no longer about being rude or disrespectful. It's about protecting your time, your energy, and your focus so that you can give your best to the things that truly matter. Think about it. Every time you say yes to something, you're making a choice. You're choosing to spend your time in a certain way. And every time you say no, you're also making a choice. You're choosing to spend your time on something that will help you grow, that will help you move closer to your goals. So when you say no to things that don't matter, you're not just protecting your time, you're investing in your future. Now let's take a moment to think about the people around you. Are there people in your life who are constantly asking for your time, your energy, and your attention? Maybe they're friends, family members, or colleagues. They may be well-meaning, but if you're not careful, they can take up all of your time, leaving you with nothing for yourself. That's why it's so important to set boundaries. It's not about cutting people off. It's about protecting your energy and your focus. It's about teaching others to respect your time, and in doing so, you'll create stronger, more meaningful relationships. When you start saying no to things that drain your energy and distract you from your goals, you'll notice a shift. You'll feel more focused, more in control, and more confident in your decisions. You'll have more time to invest in the things that really matter. And as you make more intentional decisions with your time, you'll start to see results. Your life will start to reflect the choices you're making. You'll be more productive, more efficient, and more successful in everything you do. Number 8. Eliminating time traps that keep you stuck. There are these things we all have in our lives that seem harmless at first, but over time they end up taking more from us than we think. They steal our energy, our focus, and our most precious resource, our time. These things are what I call time traps. And if you're not careful, they can keep you stuck, spinning in circles, never getting any closer to your goals. The problem is, most of these time traps don't look like time traps at all. They're often disguised as things we think are important or even necessary, but in reality, they're keeping us from moving forward. So what exactly are time traps? They're anything in your life that takes up your time but doesn't add value to your goals or your personal growth. They're the things that you do every day, sometimes without even thinking about it, that keep you from being as productive or focused as you could be. It could be that extra hour you spend watching TV or scrolling through social media when you know you should be working on your business. It could be saying yes to people who drain your energy and take up your time with their problems. It could be the constant checking of your phone, jumping from one app to another, not realizing how much time is slipping away while you're not even paying attention. The truth is, time traps can look innocent enough on the surface. We're not talking about big, obvious distractions like wasting a whole day doing nothing. No, these are small, subtle things that seem insignificant in the moment. But when you add them up over time, they take away hours, days, and even weeks of your life. And the worst part is that, because they don't seem like a big deal, we don't often realize how much they're actually costing us. Think about it. How many times have you found yourself checking your phone just to look up and realize an hour has passed and you didn't even get anything productive done? Or how many times have you let someone take up your time with their problems only to feel drained afterward with nothing to show for it? These are the time traps that keep you stuck. They keep you from using your time wisely. And over time, if you let them, they can lead you down a path where you're just going through the motions, wasting precious years on things that don't really matter. So how do we break free from these time traps? First, we need to recognize them. And that's the hardest part, identifying what's truly a time trap and what's just part of life. We all have commitments, responsibilities, and relationships that require our attention. But what I'm talking about here is the stuff that doesn't contribute to your growth, the stuff that doesn't move you closer to your goals. It's easy to get caught up in busy work, to feel like we're doing something productive just because we're constantly moving. But the key to success isn't about being busy. It's about being productive. It's about spending your time on the things that will get you closer to where you want to go. Once you start to identify these time traps in your life, you can start to take action. You can start making different choices. You can choose to say no to distractions. You can choose to stop wasting time on things that aren't adding value to your life. It's not always easy, especially when these time traps are so ingrained in our daily routines. But once you make the decision to start reclaiming your time, you'll be amazed at how much more you can accomplish. One of the most powerful things you can do is to establish clear boundaries around your time. Protect your time like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. It's the one thing you can't get back. And the more you protect your time, the more you'll be able to focus on the things that matter. You'll have more time for your goals, more time for your family, more time for your health, and more time for your personal growth. But that only happens when you stop allowing time traps to take over. I want you to think about your own life for a moment. What are the time traps that are holding you back? What are the things you're doing every day that aren't helping you get closer to your goals? It could be anything from procrastination to distractions to spending too much time on things that don't move the needle forward. Whatever it is, once you identify it, you can make a choice to stop it. You can choose to take control of your time and start using it more wisely. Here's the thing. When you stop falling into time traps, you free up so much more of your time and energy for the things that really matter. You'll start to notice that you have more time to focus on the things that truly contribute to your success. You'll have more time for learning, for working on your skills, for building relationships that matter, and for taking care of your health. And as you make these changes, you'll start to see your life transform. You'll feel more productive, more fulfilled, and more in control of your future. But here's the catch. It's not just about avoiding time traps. It's also about replacing them with better habits. Habits that will move you forward, that will help you grow, that will take you to the next level. You can't just remove the negative things from your life and expect everything to change. You have to replace them with positive, productive habits. That's how you build momentum. That's how you turn your time into a resource that works for you instead of against you. So how do you do that? Start small. Pick one time trap that you know is stealing your time and replace it with something that will move you closer to your goals. Maybe it's turning off notifications on your phone so you're not constantly distracted. Maybe it's setting boundaries with people who are taking up too much of your time. Maybe it's dedicating 30 minutes a day to learning something new that will help you in your career or business. Whatever it is, start with one small change and build from there. Over time, these small changes will add up. They'll compound. And before you know it, you'll have built a routine that supports your success instead of holding you back. You'll have replaced your time traps with time habits that serve your greater purpose. And that's when you'll start seeing real results. That's when you'll start moving forward at a pace you never thought possible. Number 9, mastering focus to maximize your time. Something that can completely transform the way you manage your time and ultimately your life. It's focus. In today's world, it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to feel like there's always something pulling your attention in 100 different directions. But here's the truth. If you can master the art of focus, you can accomplish more in a day than most people can in a week. Focus is the key to unlocking your potential. It's the difference between spinning your wheels and actually making progress. And yet for so many people, focus is a skill that remains just out of reach. Here's the thing about focus. It's not something you're born with. It's not something you either have or don't have. Focus is a muscle that you can build, and the more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. But like any muscle, if you don't work it, it atrophies, it weakens. And over time, it becomes harder and harder to focus on the things that matter. That's why it's so important to actively work on improving your focus every single day. It's something you have to train yourself to do, and it's something you can improve with consistent effort. Think about the way most people spend their day. They wake up to a barrage of distractions. Their phone goes off with messages and notifications. They check social media. They're constantly jumping from task to task, never really focusing on one thing for too long. And by the end of the day, they wonder why they feel so tired, so drained, and yet they haven't made any real progress on their goals. The truth is, they've spent their time reacting to distractions instead of being proactive and focused on what really matters. The first step in mastering focus is understanding that focus is a choice. It's a decision you make every single day about where to put your energy and attention. It's not something that just happens. It's something you have to cultivate. Every time you sit down to work on something important, you have to choose to block out the distractions. You have to choose to ignore the notifications, the phone calls, the emails, and the other things that pull you away from the task at hand. And the more you practice that choice, the easier it becomes. But focus isn't just about saying no to distractions. It's also about saying yes to what's important. It's about saying yes to your goals, yes to your dreams, yes to the things that will take you closer to the life you want to create. And when you make that choice, you become unstoppable. You stop wasting time. You stop allowing the little distractions to pull you away from what you're trying to accomplish. Instead, you pour all your energy into the task at hand, and you get results, real results, results that matter. One of the most important things you can do to improve your focus is to create an environment that supports it. The people you surround yourself with, the space you work in, the habits you create, these all play a huge role in how focused you are. If you're constantly working in a noisy, chaotic environment, it's going to be much harder to focus on what you're trying to do. If you're surrounded by distractions, whether it's people, social media, or anything else, it's going to be hard to stay on track. But when you create an environment that's conducive to focus, you give yourself the best chance to succeed. Start by eliminating the things that pull your attention away. Turn off your phone or put it in another room when you're working on something important. Clear the clutter from your workspace. Make sure you have everything you need to focus right in front of you, so you don't waste time looking for things. And if you're working with other people, make sure they know your boundaries. Let them know that when you're working, you need uninterrupted time to focus. Another way to improve your focus is to break your tasks into smaller, more manageable pieces. One of the reasons people struggle with focus is that they look at a big project or goal and feel overwhelmed. They don't know where to start, so they don't start at all. But when you break that project down into smaller steps, it becomes much more manageable. You can focus on one small thing at a time, and before you know it, you've made a lot of progress. This helps you stay focused and motivated because you can see the results of your effort right away. Now let's talk about the power of setting clear intentions. If you don't know exactly what you're working toward, it's easy to get distracted. You might be working hard, but you're not working toward anything specific, and that's a surefire way to waste time. But when you set clear intentions, when you know exactly what you want to accomplish and why, it gives you something to focus on. It gives you a sense of direction and purpose. And with that clarity, you can block out the distractions and put all your energy into achieving your goals. One of the things I've learned over the years is that focus isn't just about working hard, it's about working smart. It's about prioritizing the right tasks, the ones that will have the biggest impact. It's about knowing when to say no to things that aren't helping you get closer to your goals. And it's about being willing to put in the effort to accomplish what you set out to do. And when you combine that with a focused mindset, you'll find that you're able to accomplish far more than you ever thought possible. But let's be honest for a moment. Focus isn't always easy. There are going to be days when you're tired, when your mind wanders, when distractions seem to be everywhere. And on those days, it can be easy to give up or just go through the motions. But I want to challenge you to push through. Because here's the thing, the days when it's hardest to focus are the days that will make the biggest difference. Those are the days that will build your discipline. Those are the days that will help you become the person you need to be to succeed. And every time you push through and stay focused, you build momentum. You get one step closer to your goals. And remember, it's not about being perfect. It's not about never getting distracted or never losing focus. It's about being consistent. It's about getting back on track when you do get distracted. It's about making the choice to refocus, to push yourself, and to keep going. Because the more you practice focus, the better you get at it. And eventually it becomes second nature. It becomes who you are. Number 10, the time and money connection in personal growth. The idea of personal growth is something that we all hear about, but it can be a little tricky to truly understand, especially when it comes to how it connects with our time and money. We often think of personal growth in terms of knowledge, skills, or experiences that we acquire over time. But when you start to realize that your time is money, everything starts to look different. The more you invest in yourself, your growth, your development, your skills, the greater the return you get. Not just in terms of your personal satisfaction, but also in the tangible rewards that follow. Here's the thing, the biggest barrier to personal growth for most people is the way they view time. They see time as something that's always slipping away, and they can't see how it can be an asset. They spend their time just getting through the day, never really thinking about how the way they use their time will impact their growth. But when you truly understand that time equals money, everything changes. You realize that each hour, each minute is a chance to grow, to learn, to improve. It's not just about getting through the day, it's about investing in your future self. So many people waste time without realizing it. They spend it on things that don't move them forward. Endless scrolling on social media, binge watching TV shows, engaging in gossip, or pointless conversations. These are all time drains. And they might feel good in the moment, but they don't give you anything of real value in the long term. The time you spend on things that don't contribute to your personal growth is time you'll never get back, and that's where the money part comes in. Every minute you spend improving yourself, whether it's through reading, learning a new skill, practicing mindfulness, or working toward a goal, is an investment in your future that will pay dividends in ways you can't even imagine yet. You've heard it said that time is money, and it's true. When you're investing your time wisely, you're actually investing in your future earning potential. Think about it. Every time you improve a skill, every time you learn something new, you're increasing your value. You're making yourself more marketable, more capable, and more attractive to opportunities that will bring you greater wealth, both financially and in the form of a more fulfilling life. You're literally creating more value for yourself and those around you. And don't mistake this for being all about money. Personal growth isn't just about increasing your paycheck. It's about becoming a better version of yourself. It's about becoming someone who can take on bigger challenges, who can contribute more meaningfully, and who can lead with confidence. It's about becoming the person who, when they walk into a room, commands respect, not because they're trying to impress anyone, but because they've spent the time investing in themselves. They've worked on their mind, their body, their spirit, and it shows. But the connection between time and money also goes beyond just how you spend your time today. It's about the habits you're building for tomorrow. You see, personal growth is a long game. You don't see the results of your hard work and time investment right away, and that can be discouraging. But here's where understanding the time-money connection really hits home. Every bit of effort you put in today, every little step you take toward improving yourself, adds up. And over time it compounds. Just like putting money in the bank, if you keep adding to your skills, your knowledge, and your mindset, it grows. Slowly at first, and then just like the magic of compound interest, your growth begins to accelerate. And this is why it's so important to think long-term. You have to understand that the time you spend investing in yourself today is building a foundation for your future. It's laying the groundwork for everything that's to come. The things you do today, whether it's learning a new skill, reading a book, working on your health, are small investments that will pay off later in ways you can't fully predict right now. But trust me, they will. They always do. So how do you make sure you're using your time in a way that will actually lead to personal growth? First and foremost, you need to value your time. You need to understand that time isn't something to be wasted or taken for granted. You only have so much of it, and once it's gone, it's gone. The most successful people in the world are the ones who understand the value of time and treat it like the precious resource that it is. They protect their time. They guard it fiercely. They don't allow distractions or unimportant things to take up their time. They understand that the more time they spend on their growth, the more they get in return. But it's not just about being busy. It's not just about filling your calendar with tasks and obligations. It's about being intentional with your time. It's about making sure that everything you do moves you closer to your goals. You have to ask yourself every day, what's the best use of my time right now? What's going to bring me closer to becoming the person I want to be, to achieving the things I want to achieve? That's the mindset that leads to growth. That's the mindset that turns time into money. Now, I know it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to let time slip through your fingers when you don't have a clear focus. But that's why it's so important to be intentional. When you know what you want to achieve, and you know how to use your time wisely, everything becomes clearer. The distractions fall away, and you can focus on what truly matters. And the more you focus on the things that matter, the more your time becomes an investment in yourself. But personal growth isn't just about the time you spend on big, life-changing activities. It's about the small, consistent choices you make every day. It's the decision to spend 10 minutes reading instead of 10 minutes scrolling through social media. It's the decision to spend an hour learning something new instead of binge-watching a TV show. It's the decision to exercise, to eat right, to take care of your body, because you know that your body is the foundation for everything else. It's these small, everyday decisions that add up over time and create the life you want. And that's the beauty of it all. Personal growth is something you have control over. You can decide how to use your time. You can decide whether or not you're going to invest in yourself. And when you make that decision, when you choose to take your time seriously, that's when the magic happens. That's when you start to see real change. And not just in your bank account, but in every area of your life. Time and money are connected, but the connection goes beyond just earning money. It's about investing in your future. It's about growing as a person. And when you make that investment, you're setting yourself up for a life that's rich in every sense of the word. Rich in opportunity, rich in fulfillment, and yes, rich in financial reward too. Because the more you grow, the more you invest in yourself. The more you put in, the more you'll get out. And that's a life worth living. So take a look at your time today. Are you using it to invest in your future? Are you using it to grow? If not, start today. Start right now. The return on that investment is worth more than anything you can imagine.